Welcome back, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. I super appreciate it. This week, we're going to be getting to the first game in my favorite RPG series of all time, the Mother series. This game was developed by Shikahatsu Itoi, I think that's his name anyway, who was wanting to make the game something like a game that he wanted to play. The game never came out in America until 2015. The game actually was won by somebody in a contest, and eventually the game's ROM was actually dumped on the internet for people to play the English translation. I won't be looking at that translation as I'm looking at the Game Boy Advance version that Tomato made, which stays more faithful to the game in Japan and just makes things a lot easier. Is Mother a great game to start off with in the series, and is it a good game in general? It's a good RPG. Let's find out now. Here's the intro. Our story begins in 1988, set in a small town of rural America, in a town called Mother's Day. A young American couple mysteriously vanished. George returned and began to study some strange activities he learned while previously gone. However, his wife Maria had never returned. After the startup, a young boy, Ninten, is attacked in his home. After getting through the event, Ninten finds out his grandfather researched psychic abilities from his father, and asks Ninten to see what's going on in the world and see if he can save it. After saving a few things such as a girl in a graveyard and saving a local zoo, geez, not even the zoo is safe nowadays. Anyway, Ninten is warped to Magickin, where he is asked by Queen Mary to play a song. After a while, Ninten finds a couple of friends, Anna, Lloyd, and Teddy. Later on, Ninten talks to Anna about his psychic abilities, and Anna joins and hopes to find her mother, who disappeared a while ago. Ninten finds Teddy in a karaoke bar where the cops shut that crap down fast. Jeez, you call the cops now and they aren't nearly as fast, but you have a kid underage drink, well, then a cop just storms right in. During the travel, Teddy takes critical damage from a robot. After Ninten finds a robot named Eve, Eve helps them get the last melody. During this, Lloyd comes back into the party. After getting the last melody and singing a song, Ninten finds the town of Magickin has vanished. And after getting inside the final cave, they find the people that have mysteriously gone missing. Ninten and the party go up to the cave where they fight the person named Gygus. Where during the fight we learn that Gygus' intention is to take Ninten back on a ship. Ninten declines where Gygus tries to get him to fall asleep. The party sings the melody, and after they sing the melody, Gygus is overcome by Maria's love, and he explains he will meet them again. He leaves on his mothership, and the game ends with the credits rolling behind the original three in the party. I think the thing about Mother's story, it is super dark, and it has a mystery feel to it. People theorize that George is Ninten's grandpa, and I'm pretty sure that's to be the case, as your dad basically at the beginning of the game says that. But the story from Mother starts out mysteriously, and it feels pretty sinister. Like seriously, one day Ninten is in a magic land having tea and crumpets with the queen. Next we find all the people have been kidnapped in one specific place. Sure, in the end you have to save them, but geez, this is pretty effed up. And honestly scares the crap out of me, because I could see something like this happening if freaking aliens decided to show up one day and invade Earth. But the story is really creative and fantastic. It's just not apparent in the entire game for the most of the time. But that's not a huge deal because this is an NES game or Famicom game. Well, with the story being as crazy and creative as it can be, how about the gameplay? Does it stack up to what the story is? Okay, we really need to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the easy ring along with the graphics. Normally I look at the graphics way later on in the review, but I need to address this. Battles look great for an 80s NES game. For something like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, wow, the graphics look so good. And even though it's an end-of-life NES game, this is a technically impressive game. It's something that looks like it was done with great detail. The sprites in question, I've seen better on the system, but it looks pretty good. Environments along along with the regular sprites, are done with better detail than most games, and I will admit something like Mario Bros. 3 looks a ton better, but man, the color choices along with the graphics are great for the time. I really like them, especially the battle sprites. Now, I am playing the game on the translated GBA version. I only found this through Stephen Play's Let's Play like 6 years ago. I gotta tell you, if you're not a hardcore RPG fan, this may not be the game for you. I played the original and this version, and I love both, but the easy ring just makes the game easier, no pun intended. But also this game is way more faithful to the original translation. So I like this game more than the original. Plus, if you want to play this game to get the story, the easy ring will make battles especially easy early on in the game, as you take like one hit for each enemy, which is kind of sweet, not gonna lie. But for me, this is a better way to play the game, just because the faithfulness and the fact that anyone can take the opportunity to experience this awesome game. So now with that being said, the core gameplay for this is a turn-based RPG. So on the field, you'll be walking around and something will get you into your battle. Your goal is simple: mash the button correctly and take everything out in your way. But along the way, you gain spells to help you on your journey. However, my first real complaint with this game is that it doesn't explicitly tell you specifically what you need to do or what you can use to actually heal yourself, or what the black magic attacks do in this game. It's kind of sucky at best. Like for example, the black magic or black psychic abilities. You can use a spell and it doesn't work on an enemy or boss, thinking that you can often waste value PP, and it's super frustrating because of that. And that chiz does not come around very often. And I'm not really happy with this design. And in fact, if you kill an enemy and you target it with the next person, it will waste a turn for the character, and can also waste PP. This is super infuriating. But it's not game breaking, it's just an annoyance is all. The bosses in this game are quite a hoot. They're pretty cool. My favorite is the dragon boss, because all good JRPGs need a dragon boss. I'm looking at you, HC Bailey. But a few of these are easy because when you fight them, you have Eve and a tank. But they are all super interesting and very unique. I really like them a great deal. And at the end of dungeons and such, it's not the end all be all that the boss is at the end. And I like that. That makes the game unique in a sense. Going over the final boss though, I have to say I've never played a game with a more unsettling boss fight in my life. The next game in the series I argue is darker, but geez, the music along with the sprite just puts me on edge. And I could say for certainty that this is one of my favorite bosses in the history of gaming. For me, it's so creepy but so cool. And I gotta say I love the characters in this game, Nintendo, Anna, and Lloyd. I have to say I love them all. However, Lloyd and Teddy seem like they're just there. There's no real backstory and there's not really anything that you need to know about them, which kind of makes their characters kind of suck in regard. I just want to see a tragic background, but I can only dream though. We'll just pretend that Teddy was abused by his mom or something and Lloyd just was neglected. Kind of like Jeff in the next game. I just spoiled Earthbound. Yeah. However, Nintendo and Anna are really cool. I like how both have been bothered with tragedy in their life. Nintendo is basically this world's last hope and carries that burden on his shoulders. And Anna, her mother, just up and disappeared. I like that these two kind of fall for each other during this time of urgency. And I love that because this tells the character that the world may be in peril, but with these two together, everything's gonna be alright. The music is so freaking good in this game. It has to be some of the best music in this series. The sounds are typical but are so satisfying, and I love the music and sounds in this game. The final boss theme I stated puts you on edge, but man, it does a great job with the simplicity that it presents. So all in all, I didn't have a ton of issues with the gameplay, but what do I think overall about Mother? I think from an imagination standpoint, yes, I have to say that it is one of the best RPGs I've ever played. But there are better out there. But I feel like the game presents itself very well with its dark tone. It is trying to establish something super unique here, and I really enjoy that part of the game. I just don't like the way the spells and the enemies are handled, and I also forgot to mention the inventory sucks in this game. It is so freaking small, and you have like 8 things per character, which is a really bonehead decision on the part of the developers, and that won't really change as we get into the rest of the games in the series. And sometimes this game is also pretty hard to figure out where to go, even with the guide I was using. But I will say, to me, this is the best NES game I've ever played. I mean, the way the music, the graphics, and honest desire and need to have these characters save the world, plus having the charm and the cutscenes in the game, just really stands out to me. And I'm happy Earthbound expands on this, but on its own, this is a great game. And give the Easy Ring GBA version a freaking chance. The translation is awesome, it is flawless, and it gives so much joy to play it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.